Now is Kevin Hassett, former chair of the Council of Economic Advisors. Kevin, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Donald Trump did make the economic story one of the hallmarks of his speech last night, and he was, of course, vowing to end inflation. I just want to play a soundbite of that and get your reaction. Roll tape.
You're paying too much. We're going to reduce your taxes still further. We gave you the biggest one, as I said. We're going to give you more. And it's going to lead to tremendous growth. We want growth in our country. That's what's going to pay off our debt. And next, we will end the ridiculous and actually incredible waste of taxpayer dollars that is fueling the inflation crisis.
Now, we'll talk about inflation for a moment, but that claim that he made that enough growth could actually pay off the debt, is that really going to be achievable?
We'll have to wait and see how much growth we get and how much we can reduce government spending. But I can tell you that I spoke about inflation with the president a few weeks ago, and he 100% understands that it's a problem of way too much demand because of all the government spending and way too little supply, because right now Joe Biden is, hectoring America's companies with heavy regulations and threatening them with higher taxes. And so he's going to cut taxes, deregulate, increase supply, but he's also going to cut government spending a lot and reduce demand. And so I expect that that's going to have a big effect on inflation, which would then reduce deficits and with a lot of growth, especially if it's potentially AI-powered growth, something else that, in his platform, he explicitly addresses AI, that is possible that we could grow out of this mess.
Now, even though I can't remember what his average inflation growth was during the Trump administration, but it was close to or underneath
1.9%.
Okay, so it was under 2%. Yeah. I think the average for Biden is over 6%. So I mean, it's just a ridiculous claim that his policies are going to actually increase inflation or leave inflation as is. But guess what? They're making that claim. Here's a headline from CBS. It says, Trump says he will end inflation nightmare. Let's put that up on the screen. Economists say Trumponomics could drive up prices. Now, Kevin, you're an economist. Can you explain how they make that bank shot that somehow Trump is going to cause an increase in inflation with his plans?
They're all citing my old friend Mark Zandi's estimate that inflation would go up a lot under Trump. But if you look, every election cycle, Mark, who's run campaign finance events for Nancy Pelosi, comes out with a study that's bad for Republicans and good for Democrats. And the fact is that President Trump's policies gave us high growth and low inflation, below the 2% target, for 3 years before COVID. COVID's a different thing. Let's not try to put that into the data. And he did that with policies that he now wants to magnify a little bit going forward. So I would expect higher growth and lower inflation. The argument that they make for why inflation is going to happen is, one, that tariffs will raise prices, and two, that if you shut the border, then this big increase in labor supply that we're getting from illegal immigrants who are taking all the jobs will go away, and therefore wages will go up, and that'll cause inflation. But they're they're pointing to illegal immigrants mostly, and they think that's the biggest effect.
And also on tariffs, did tariffs drive up inflation during the Trump administration?
No, the trade-weighted tariff went from about 2-something% to 14%, and inflation stayed in the ones. And the reason is that if you put a tariff on something, then you can buy it from somebody else. And the second best producer could be charged at almost the same price. And that's why inflation didn't kick up in the first term, and I wouldn't expect it to in the next term either.
And meanwhile, you hear of economic plans by the Democratic nominee, or maybe not, but no matter who the nominee is, they'll have basically the same economic plans. We talked about this before, but a 5% federal rent control program, putting price controls on rents on a federal level, has that ever been done before?
The fact that they're proposing price controls means that they've surrendered against inflation. Now, maybe the Fed can get the job done even with the Democrats' runaway spending, but it really is astonishing that they're proposing rent controls and price controls, because that means that they give up. They don't understand where inflation comes from. But we've been talking about it, you and I, David, for a long time. It comes from runaway government spending and an attack on supply. It's something we've been talking about ever since Joe Biden took office, and it's very, very easy to fix. And if you look at the Trump platform, which has 20 different points that are both, addressing national security, the border, and the economy, then he's got a really solid plan to reduce inflation and increase growth in real incomes.
And Kevin, the great irony of ironies is what they're proposing is the Nixon policy. The Nixon policy of price controls and relying on an easy Fed. That's a combination. They're going for the Nixon plan, the Democrats. I mean, it's crazy.
It is, but the good news is that Jay Powell isn't nearly as crazy as the Fed back then.
Yeah,
and so that the Fed has lifted interest rates and moved inflation in the right direction. And so I think that the price controls probably in the beginning wouldn't have any effect because the Fed has done such a good job fighting inflation. Right. But on the other hand, they've slowed the economy to a crawl.
They have, and that's a conversation for another day. Kevin, good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much.